Hi, I'm Sai from Don Broco, and you're listening to the Weekly Hookup.
What's up, everybody? It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. You are listening to the Weekly Hookup here on Radio Artifact, streaming over the air, all that. You know what? You know where you can get it. Go to radioartifact.com if you want to listen live, or wvxu.org. But if you're listening to this part, you are listening live. Maybe you download it as a podcast. That's a big thing. You know what? I'll just do that instead. You all know how to reach us. You see us on social. You know where to listen on VXU and Radio Artifact and podcasts. See, I keep saying it, so now you know. But what I'm going to ask you instead this week is if you could go to our Facebook page, as well as our pages on the related podcast sites, if you could go there and ensure that we have good recommendations and give us some reviews, that would be huge, because that's how these podcasts grow. That's how you can help us.
That's how we buy the beans.
That's right.
That's how we buy the beans.
I know that the audience knows that we're not just a regular show of two dudes talking. We're more than that.
We are more. We want to be there with you along the way.
That's right. And we'd like to give you free stuff. That's the real gimmick here.
Exactly.
And we need to, but the reviews will help set us apart. So, share our page, share our post, all that stuff. It's all great. With me as always is James. What's up, James?
What's going on, Mark? Great to be back for another week.
Yes, it's so far so great, man. I'm really excited.
We had a big weekend.
We did have a big weekend, and we've got a good show tonight, too. I think we've got comedian Blake Hammond joining us, who's really funny. And even if you're like, okay, who's that? You're rude. But secondarily,
exactly. We couldn't get his dad, Daryl. So.
That's right. Exactly. He's been doing great things.
Exactly. Well, no, actually, he hasn't. No.
Daryl Hammond, he was in a documentary recently.
Yeah, about how he's not doing well.
But then again, that's a good point. Okay, well, anyway, the point is this joke has gotten out of control.
We're going to have Blake on later.
Blake's not even related to him. But you will know Blake because I guarantee that you've seen some of his tweets, which have gone viral. That's really how he'll have to start positioning himself as professional viral tweeter.
You got to get those bird points right there. Those secret government surveillance birds, air quote.
Yeah, that's right. That's all birds are. No one can prove it.
They just sit on the power lines to recharge. That's a great point. When have you see a bird really been a bird?
Yeah,
and not just watching you at all times.
And they're like, don't feed it bread. I'm like, yeah, because bread probably gums up the electronics.
Exactly. There's so much sugar and sometimes raisins.
These can't produce gas. I'm like, yeah, you know what else can't produce gas through eating? An android.
Exactly. Anyways, we had a big weekend this last weekend. We were Festival Central.
Oh, what an exciting time.
We got to go down Friday to Forecastle Festival in Louisville, and the big one of that night was The Killers. As you know me, I've been living slightly in my Florence Mall Hot Topic phase for way too long, so I've been waiting to see them for over a decade, and it was a fantastic show. Even though their singer Brandon, I don't want to say any negative words on air, but oh boy, that boy has some serious self-doubt.
How many people would you say that they killed that evening?
By the time they got to Bright Side, they definitely had given up, even though that was their last song.
That's funny.
We were leaving, and we could hear it. We're like, we don't. It's kind of a meme at this point. Right. We don't need it. And as we were walking away,
came out of our cages. We are indeed doing just fine.
Till Billy Corgan puts us back in. But
that's right.
And then I believe we had some incarceration festival fun this past weekend as well.
Yes, some good 90s acts like live. I'm actually still going through our photographer. We had a photographer help us out this weekend. Shout out to Matthew. Mm-hmm. And once we've got, I'm going through the pictures to pick which ones I like so we can post them on social. So you'll all be seeing those very soon, hopefully by the end of the week with this episode. I say the end of the week. I keep forgetting. I've been lying to everybody for a year and a half and saying that we record the same day, but we don't. It's Wednesday in real life, but you're listening to the show on Friday.
We're like the time traveler memes where we're always living kind of 2 days ahead when we plan the show, so it's like, oh, you're going to need to talk about this. And then insert XY meme,
We are traveling through time exactly at the speed of time. Well, I went on Saturday, by the way, to Forecastle as well. It was an exciting weekend, especially in the cast. But there were really good acts at both places. I think if I had to... but I do have to say, of the two festivals, and this is not a knock on incarceration because I love all the people involved with that, and they book a lot of great hard rock and metal acts for that show. it's more, and like my complaint, it's not even a complaint, it's just a pro to the other one, is that Mansfield, Ohio, not exactly set up as well as Louisville, Kentucky is for having a ton of people there.
Yes.
And I'm just saying Louisville's obviously like a bigger city, and Mansfield is a place that you're like, where's Mansfield, Ohio, right?
Yeah. Where you go to
prison
party.
there. Yeah, you go to party, and you go to party at prisons there.
Yes.
But no, they do a great thing there. There's unfortunately some tragedy this weekend as a few of the employees, unrelated to they were festival employees, but they died on, I think it was early Monday morning.
That's terrible.
It was crazy, and it was, again, unrelated to the festival. But as I understand from the last article I read, they were driving an ATV and like drove off a 30-foot cliff. Pretty much, they didn't say.
You can't get me to go on anything that doesn't have me encompassed at all times. So it only just means a lot of Universal rides.
I'm usually a little weird about the ATV thing too, because I'm like, oh, no cage, that sounds terrible, and if I get thrown, I'm going to die. And as somebody that's already broken, I'm like, well, if it just takes my legs, I'm fine, because I'm used to that.
I've played a lot of ATV Off-Road Fury. I know how this goes, and I don't get the restart button.
For sure, and that's how I feel about it. And I just, I like doing a lot of outdoor activity in general, so whenever we're out west, I'm always thinking, like, I'd love to ride an ATV, and I know Lindsay really would love to do that, but I'm like, I think one of us is going to break their backs.
Yeah.
Because I think if you knew the terrain and you're like, okay, this is kind of a layer here, this is where the bumps are, so you're like it's kind of like when you're driving a car, and sometimes I would guess that if a driver gets into a bad situation and wrecks the car, I feel like the driver more often than not is in better shape in the wreck. I'm sure there's a lot of circumstantial stuff, but kind of what I'm getting at is that by the nature of, maybe not even in a wreck, just by the nature of being the driver of a vehicle, right? You know where the bumps are going to be, and you can feel that out. Whereas if you're looking to the person in the passenger seat, they're kind of doing the whoa and bouncing up and down.
Did you play Double Dash growing up?
I did.
Weren't you prepared for this?
Yeah, I was super prepared. Listen, when Luigi pulled out that blue shell.
Oh, hold on, don't.
Luggy, excuse me. Luggy, Joshy, and Todd. The three best characters from the Mayro universe.
The Mayro. We've been having way too much fun with Mario Maker. That's been pretty much all it's been on our mind, and I'm sitting here looking at my browser history at work and being like, too many did you know about Super Mario and what soundtrack was made off an oscillating fan for the game.
We watch a lot of YouTube at home, which you obviously know, and the beauty of having YouTube on the smart streaming apps on the TVs, I think, is that you have access to literally everything, and also you can self-judge a lot by what it feeds you. What's been really funny, though, is that we've, occasionally we'll pass out in the living room instead. I always love those nights where you're just like watching TV and you're like, oh, it's 4:00. Well, I'm not going upstairs.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah. We've got a lot of stairs in our house, so it's just not, 4 in the morning, the last thing I want to do is walk upstairs.
Yeah.
And, but no, it's been funny because Lindsay and I have been sleeping to Mario Maker, like speed runs and stuff, and watching. I'm really torn.
How can you just listen to people yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs when they die in expert mode?
And I'll explain, and I kind of want to talk about this streamer, and I'll have to look up his name. It's like Ryo Zucker or something.
Is it Ryo Zen?
No, I don't think so. He's like, the dude is super soft. Let me find it. Let me look at my history.
Maybe I'm thinking of popular Street Fighter character Ryu. Maybe that's where that's localization came from.
I'll pull it up here and find this person. But the point here of what I'm getting at is that we've been watching all these videos, and it's kind of funny because I never thought. Well, I guess in part you're asking how I could sleep through the beeps and boops, and where I was going with this person is we happen to find this one dude who streams, and I'm going to find it. It's going to. Even if it kills me.
How is this not saved at the top of your subscriptions or your last watch list?
Because for some stupid reason, the smart TV makes me... So if you look at my account, okay, so I guess I'm going deep here. I'm like an OG YouTube user back when it was a beta thing from 100 years ago, when it competed with Google Video, for those of you who are like, what is that? And they were the same thing. And through that's why even with like such a low subscriber count there, I have youtube.com/themark. So it's and they've tried to get me to get rid of it a bunch. Do you remember, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, there was some big scandal where YouTube was trying to get everybody to dump their names, and we all told them to collectively screw themselves. So the mark is one of those, but if you go to like the account switcher, it'll show my email address that's attached to the account it'll then show the Mark page as a separate entity, and then a third blank one. So the thing is, the TV, and even though my email and the Mark are tied to the same account, it won't put the Mark on there. It puts my email address, and if I go, it's like switch account. It's like, okay, put in a new email address. I'm like, this is the problem. So it's one of those things where it's like an app development issue where they just have not fixed. They've not added all of the functionality. So it's just enough that I'd have to like log. I guess that's what I'll have to do here is I'll just log into my other account on air because this is incredibly interesting for the audience.
What does it feel like that we have dealings with the companies that make this stuff for a living and make these inconveniences?
What's really funny is when we, and I guess I've talked to people, not really YouTube people, but just in general, joking with these kind of tech people, where they like, you want to be like, hey, what'd be really useful or helpful or anything is this, and they just kind of look at you like you're the idiot, and I'm like, I bet you don't use this.
Spotify, give me old Spotify back. Your new app sucks.
I hate Spotify. I love their deodorant. There it is. That's good stuff.
Have you found your YouTuber?
No, I literally. This is gonna drive me absolutely crazy. I'm looking through.
I'm gonna.
Wait! It just popped up. Ryukahr, Ryukahr.
That's a shout out right there. That is a big endorsement from local mayor.
Yeah, from the mayor of Covington himself. He's a frustrating person for me to watch because he's good at the game, but game streaming, a reason old people don't like it is because they kind of don't understand why you'd want to have somebody running their own commentary on a game. And as somebody that it kind of feels like he lives a life on both sides of the coin of being like eternally youthful, but also a little bit an old man. There's that part of me that's like, yeah, this is stupid. I get the appeal of it, where you're like, oh, it is fun to watch. I've been enjoying watching people running these games because that's the sport, it's really about contests, right?
Yes.
That's the contest I enjoy engaging in and thus watching it. So to me, it's not much different than somebody like, did you watch the basketball game last night? You're like, yeah, this is just people performing feats of skill, whether or not it's like a direct physical skill or not.
I've been watching awesome games and summer games done quick for like 5 or 6 years now. There's a Metroid Prime run every single year, and I've watched every single one, even though it doesn't change much. No, it's totally like it's just all about your interest and contest because it's that competitive nature.
Right, and so what to me, what separates some of the streamers and why I can sometimes understand why certain people have become like kind of, I wouldn't call them quite celebrities, but personalities in a public sense, is that they're interesting. So it's been kind of frustrating to me, and I feel so mean now, because he seems like he really seems like a decent human being, but he's just very soft and kind of there, and like the whole thing is like, okay, we're gonna try this now, and oh man, that's really disappointing. And I'm like eternally frustrated because I'm just like, this dude needs to get a little like heated or something, and he like almost doesn't emote. It's so weird. Somebody watch any of his Mario Maker videos for just a minute. Even if you hate video games, watch for like 30 seconds. You'll see what I mean.
We're going to throw up to our green screen. You're going to throw a clip in right here.
Oh, let's, here. So, and you and I should hold on it, and then I'll push in on it in the video.
Okay, and go.
What are we doing here? Ooh. Oh, this is nice. What do the words say? Have the meat? Have the meat. Wow.
But anyways, yeah. He's a softie.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate to say that, but you got to pull your hair out and throw your controller, kick the Mountain Dew can sometimes.
Exactly. And I'm sure he's a lovely human being. He seems very nice. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's one of those times where I'm like, you get a lot of views for how flat your delivery is. But then I'm sitting there realistically thinking like, well, I feel like an engaging person, but part of the reason I never bothered to try streaming very often is that I'm like, what am I going to say while I'm focusing so intently on another thing? And yeah, I get it. It's like, I'm sure to be like learning anything else where at some point it's sort of a muscle memory. But I thought that was, I don't know. I'm just like, either be incredible. Why are these things, why is he getting like 1 million views? Is it the Mario? But then couldn't I just, why is he on screen? So there's a billion questions. So like the old man in me starts popping out asking those
Why
questions.
doesn't the Super Mario Brothers Super Show have those millions and 2 millions of views? They're really eating spaghetti in some of those episodes. You think he's up there playing Mario Maker with a plate of za?
See, that would get me.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still am watching.
Give me
right?
Lou Ferrigno, the character actor for Mario, eating some spaghetti. That's the ASMR I need.
Yeah, it's just him eating spaghetti. Spaghetti is only eaten in the entertainment industry by lunatics and bad guys.
Really? Do you have any like?
What was the new movie? There's a newish movie about that. They shot it here in Cincinnati, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, I wanted to see that one, but I didn't.
Well, hopefully that's not spoiler. Whatever, the movie's like a year old. If you didn't see
too
it,
late.
it's
You suck.
not. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, stop listening for 12 seconds. But the kid in that is always like sloppily, grossly. It's kind of like serial killers always drink milk in movies.
Yeah,
and that's one of the. I'm
got
gonna make.
bad bones.
I'm slowly but surely trying to make a case for it's ultimately sloppy food, and maybe lunatic was too strong of a word since I'm not someone to diagnose anybody.
Bill Hader was in that movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and he's nuts.
He is nuts. Look at him. He's playing Barry, a serial killer who probably drinks milk.
Exactly.
Or he's a hitman on Barry, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
But he also
That's like
acts.
almost the same thing. The serial killer nature to it would be you don't care who the targets are.
Yes.
I'm making that a case now.
But
now that I'm a detective, so it has been a wild week. We literally did so many random tangents already without even getting to the meat of stuff. Hey, you want to do some giveaways?
let's do it. What do we got this week?
So this week in particular, I'm going to start with one that I talked about a little bit last week, and this is for all you music buffs out there. Now, some people, I was telling someone that about this event, and they were kind of like, "Oh, I don't know if I like this band." And I will tell you this: I am 100% unfamiliar with this band, except that I know their name because they are famous. And I think this is going to be a great event. This is.
Are we giving away Kiss tickets?
How did you know? It's the 2000 Psycho Circus tour coming out. Anyway, we are doing this week. We've got a bunch of stuff. So this is coming up to Monday. This is at Bogarts. It's called Between Me and My Mind, and it's a documentary about Trey Anastasio from Phish. And it's actually gotten pretty good reviews. There've been some it's gotten middle to positive. So overall, it sounds pretty good. I'm just generally a fan of music documentaries anyway, as somebody that wants to ask questions and learn about other forms of entertainment, which is why I would be hosting a show like this where I get to ask other entertainers how they do stuff.
Exactly.
I'm very interested in looking into like the minds of these people.
We want to send you to this.
Oh, for sure. So that's going to be a great one coming up. The other one I've got coming up I'm looking forward to is that these are both going down at Bogarts, and this is on Tuesday. Modest Yahoo.
No, I'm not familiar with who that is.
Oh, he's a rapper. He had like a little fleeting bit of fame a few years back, but always puts on a really, really good show.
Nice.
It's awesome. You know, it's really funny. At some point, he tried to make the leap into film. He did like some random horror movie with the guy from, I don't know. He's like the new bad guy on Walking Dead. He's been a bunch of stuff. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Looks like
Mr. Baseball Bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like he could maybe be the love child of Robert Downey Jr. and Javier Bardem.
Oh.
I think all three of them need to play brothers in a movie. Mm-hmm. Here's the pitch. Downey
Worst
Jr.
Hangover.
Exactly. Downey Jr. and Jeffrey Dean Morgan are the American brothers who find out about their third brother, Javier Bardem, who's, I don't know, he should be some sort of like way cooler version of the two of them. Like they should be kind of losers, and he should be like the I live in a villa and all this. I don't have any idea what the story is, and it doesn't matter. I'm probably just gonna rip
They'll
off.
ad-lib it for 2.5 hours. They got it.
Yeah, Downey Jr. can riff.
Haven't you seen those Marvel outtakes? You know, those popular Marvel movies starring Gwyneth Paltrow?
Oh, I'm unfamiliar with them.
They're shooting Iron Man 22, she said.
I love that. She didn't even know she was in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, she's just there for her paycheck to for 4 to 3 day week house.
Yeah, it's really true. So those are the two big shows we've got this week are the Trey Anastasio documentary and the Modest Yahoo show. They should both be awesome. Again, even as somebody that is not knowledgeable of Trey Anastasio, I'm very interested in seeing the documentary. I will be there. I'm definitely going. Seeing movies at Bogarts is always a cool time.
It's a great setup.
And, you know, knowledge of non-knowledge is power, man. So, and the Modest Yahoo show sounds amazing, too, and I should be there for that as well. So, not that, you know, me going should interest you or not, since we'll just
But come out and meet local favorites.
Yeah, you can high-five me and be like, hey, I promise I'll listen to your show one day.
How would they have known if they just didn't? You just told them to high five.
That's true. Oh, they're going to know.
So they
now.
knew.
Perfect.
They already listened.
That's perfect.
But anyways,
Too
how are we
good.
going to send them to this? Send us an email?
Send us an email to theweeklyhookupshow@gmail.com or post on our web zone, facebook.com/theweeklyhookup. You can bug us on Instagram @theweeklyhookup. And now go ahead.
First?
Yours is probably ties to what we're saying. I was gonna
No, it
move
doesn't.
on. Okay, in that case, I do want to talk about a very important event coming up, in my opinion. Your birthday. But also, which is next week.
It is.
Between the show. But
Penn Station coupons looking
yes.
really good right
so
about now.
everybody better send all of their best nudes. Send the fattest penises. I'm just kidding. Wait, are you weight shaming them?
You're soliciting on air there.
Oh, that's true. Actual prostitution this time, too. That's how it works. You just do it in the wide open. But no, all kidding aside, send James some love on Thursday. But more importantly than sending James love is Saturday. We are doing our first live performance of the show. Well, we kind of did it on the 50th episode. Spectacular, too.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But we're going to make people pay to see us this time.
That's right. Well, it is going to be worth it.
We got to pay for the beans.
Yeah, you get beans with every entry. We are doing a show at the Redmore Theater on the 27th. It's going to be amazing. We are bringing a bunch of comics. I believe Blake Hammond, that's on the show tonight, is joining us at that show as well. We've got our buddy Zach Schonkweiler who's helping us put it all together. We're doing some live video skits. We've got all kinds of cool things planned. We have music provided by an excellent band that I met this past winter that played at Sweaterfest for us called St. Mary St. Michael. You can look them up at stmarystmichael.bandcamp.com, and that's just St. Michael. Great band, Tyler and his crew. They're just great people. I'm super excited. Everybody loved them at Sweaterfest. They were one of the most complimented parts of Sweaterfest this year.
They were great.
Yeah, I'm very
I just was
excited.
sad that once again, no dip.
Yeah, I know.
What a magical year that was.
The Phantom dip of 2017, dude. Oh, that was like the best. It was like the Sweaterfest miracle.
We didn't have any troubles in this country yet.
No, we didn't. Well,
We just had dip.
Yeah, we just had dip. I wish the dip had showed up in like 2015. But I think we should do a giveaway to that show.
Yeah, let's give away a pair of tickets.
Let's give away a pair of tickets to the Weekly Hookup Live. So that's a $20 value. And with that, you
we
will
package in a
get entry to the
handshake.
show.
We'll bump that up to 40.
What's great about the Redmore too is that in addition, it's you probably haven't been there because it's like a cool, nice theater. It's perfect for what we're doing. But you should go there more often because they're going to start doing a lot more live music events and things of this nature, which is how I got involved in the first place. If you've ever watched the Blue Chip Awards, it's a local media awards show I host here. That's actually where we've done that every year that I've been involved with them. It's a wonderful facility. I'm so excited to just do this in general. It's going to be a great time. If I can just be serious for a second, I guess it'll still be probably funny because I like laughing. But as a kid, I really cut my teeth in the comedy world with guys like, George Carlin and Chris Rock were big. But the guy that I always kind of forget because he wasn't a traditional stand-up is David Letterman. And Letterman did all kinds of great stuff. So I was really inspired by, doing the typical nostalgia baiting that watching YouTube in your living room after passing out at 4 a.m. will do for
59 episode playlist.
Exactly. I was watching old clips, and this is one I think we had already kind of decided to do the show, but I had watched it for relatively recently. I came to James. I was like, dude, I know you probably won't get this reference because I was watching these episodes a year before you were born, but I have this. I think this could be cool. We could just kind of do like a thematically similar thing where we want to engage the audience. We're gonna do
Absolutely.
we're doing interactive.
We want to hook you up.
Yeah, we're gonna hook you up. We give away tickets or something free every week. It's always available to you. I think it's a really fun part. It's a gimmick, clearly, but it's a fun gimmick and it benefits you. It doesn't benefit me in the slightest. Besides, I'm like, please fill that void.
Fill the hole.
Right, fill the hole. And anyway, the event's gonna be cool. I'm super excited. We'll announce more of the comedians and stuff. We'll have artists there.
Have some trivia.
We've
We'll have
got
a few tunes ourselves that night.
Yep, yeah. James and I are playing a couple songs.
We're going to pick our MySpace top 8 out of the crowd so everyone else feels awkward and left out. I'm
excited. The one thing I'm excited to do is read, I won't call it fan mail per se, but fan mail, for lack of a better term. That should be a fun bit. I'm excited about I'm waiting on clearance for one thing. We want to do a Cincinnati chili taste test, and we want to do it blindfolded, and we want to have people compete in that. I'm going to give you a gift card at the end of it. And I'm trying to make sure we can do it because that's one of the events. I want to do another secret one where we're going to have contestants on stage, and the idea is that they don't know the point of the game until it's too late. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
We should have everyone before the show submit a Google form of the nastiest thing they could say and say it's anonymous. And then our secret gag is that it wasn't anonymous, and we'll just read everyone's deepest things aloud.
That's actually really good. I might cut that out of the show.
You can cut it out.
That's amazing, actually. Let me look at the time code. Just put like 24:40.
Okay.
Wow, James, it's crazy that you didn't just have an excellent idea that I cut out of the show.
We never stopped. I never took that long sip of Sprite. It was about 12 seconds long of Sprite goodness.
So much Sprite, I can barely handle it.
But that's going to be July 27th at the Redmore Theater. We'll go ahead and send us an email for that one. Or should we do, to make sure they're listening, do a keyword?
I think let's do a keyword and we'll have Blake pick it. So how about on that? Why don't we take a quick break? I want to do, we usually do a song of the week or we play whoever's on the show that week, their music. This week, I got one of Blake's clips. So I want to do like we do when we're listening to Sirius on the in the car. Why not? We're going to play one of Blake's bits so you can hear stand up before we get in. This is a popular bit of his. I'm sure I'll bring up some of the viral tweets later. Mm-hmm. When we get back on the other side of that, we'll have with us Blake Hammond to talk comedy and what void he's trying to fill.
So stick around for that break.
We'll see you in a minute.
Woo!
You're listening to Radio Artifact 91.7 FM HD2 or streaming live at radioartifact.com. Radio Artifact, your home for wild culture. Want to become a supporting member of Radio Artifact? More information can be found at www.patreon.com/Radio Artifact. Become a patron of the arts. Support local music.
I do have a girlfriend. My girlfriend and I aren't fighting. We like to talk about getting married because we have a real healthy relationship. The other day she told me she wants us to write our own vows, but she wants me to write both of them. And the only problem I have with that is I have absolutely no idea why she wants to marry me. But apparently she also has no idea why she wants to marry me. At least we have that in common. I did write her vows to me the other day, and boy, it just ended up sounding like some fifth grader's book report on a book they didn't read. So here are her vows to me, written by me. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines love as a strong affection for another arising out of sexual desire and tenderness. But I define love as changing someone until they fit your physical and emotional needs. A lot of people say they can't count the reasons they got married, but I can. There are only 4. Reason number 1, you asked. Reason number 2, I love supporting you financially. It makes me feel like a strong woman. Reason number 3, I love how weak you are. Remember that time you cried because you couldn't open that jar of salsa? And then I said, have no fear, your strong, independent woman is here. 2 finger snaps. Reason number 4, you were so adorable when you proposed. I mean, you were on one knee with those tears in your eyes, trying to open that jar of salsa. Anyways, I never know how to end these things, which is how we got here in the first place. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, and we're back as promised with us, viral tweet extraordinaire.
The man himself.
Blake Hammond. Blake, thank you so much for driving in. I really appreciate that.
It's me. Nobody else can get a viral tweet but me. It's just me. It's not normal people can't do that every day, all day. People in the 7th grade tweeting about
OJ still hasn't retweeted me, so I can't get anywhere.
I just want to get a bunch of knife emojis from him. That's like that's
already on the phone.
I think I told the story last week about how when I was out visiting my dad that one time, he pulls me. We're driving through. He lives in California, and we're driving through this neighborhood, and he just pulls over on the side of the road and parks. And I was like, I don't think this is where he lives. And he's like, do you recognize where we are right now? And I was like, no. And it was OJ's house from back in the day. He's like, that's where Nicole and Ron Goldman got murdered. I was like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
I just got into town like an hour and a half ago.
He's like, this is what happens to waiters. Get a better job.
Don't even think of working at that Denny's.
How'd you know my dad? Well, Blake, what's been going on? So I guess to tell the audience a little bit more, I met you through Zach, who's been on the show before, and you did Sweater Fest for us last year.
Yeah,
dude, which was
that
awesome.
Was fun. I've just been doing stand-up mostly. I took last weekend off, and I went to see Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie.
How was that show, though?
Yeah.
Rob Zombie was great. Marilyn Manson was a fucking mess, dude. He was all pilled out and fat, and oh man, yeah, I can't believe he inspired Columbine. It was it was really fucking bad, dude. He did like 6 songs in 45 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it was really bad.
That's disappointing, dude.
That just sounds like a regular Rush show.
Yeah, that's
well, yeah, at least because they don't stop. That's them not stopping in between songs. But Marilyn Manson, man, and then he had like his guitarist do like a 10-minute solo, and he's not John 5 anymore. You know what I mean? Because he plays with Rob Zombie,
which I think is so funny that he's on the tour together. I'm like, oh, isn't that weird? It's like
super weird because John 5 did like a 10-minute solo in Rob Zombie's. It was like, oh, this is what that was. I think that spot was always there because John 5 was in the band. Sure. And then Marilyn forgot that his guitarist sucks. So it was just like, it was just
to update
feedback and like just, it was the worst. It was the worst.
That's crazy. I'm going to have to look up wwho's touring with him now to see who.
I don't know who it is. Well, maybe.
Freely's pretty free these days. Yeah. It's in his name.
Well, I think it's just some guy, but it's like, I think maybe also he's telling him to not do anything too showy. Like I feel like it's because that's what it felt. I mean, like you're not a professional guitar. I mean, he wasn't doing anything. You know what I mean? Like it was really bad.
That's so weird.
And it was a long time.
It's
like,
the Fred Durst guitar solo all over again.
I just saw that the other day, dude. I think that's so great.
It's amazing. I feel like that's got to be a Catatonic Youth post.
Yes, that's my fucking favorite. It's my favorite account on everything. I love Catatonic Youth so much. That Buck Cherry post.
I'm not familiar with that. I'll look it up.
Shit.
I'll look it up.
Look up this Buck Cherry post because it's him. It's like they do Crazy Bitch, but it's like this long. They make it like 10 minutes long, and he does like stuff in the middle where he's talking, and he's like scatting and shit. It's the funniest.
That sounds amazing.
Thing. That's what got me into that page.
That's what got me into Crazy Bitch.
Well, that's what got me into Buck Cherry. I've been a fan ever since.
So funny enough, we were covering Incarceration Festival. They were on that this weekend, and I did not get to see their set. But I did think it would be wonderful to jump into a group of Mansfield, Ohio residents that were Incarceration Festival fans. So you can probably imagine the quality. I can't keep that group separate from the group where we all pretend to be boomers right now. Because the posts look almost identical. And you're
handing me 2 red pills.
Everybody was big mad about Buck Cherry this weekend. And just that. They were like,
they didn't deliver?
I guess apparently
the premium cherry show.
Dude, Buck Cherry was supposed to play at Odd Bodies and whatever, and like I was like, okay, I'm for sure gonna click on this and just to see. So I kept interested in the event, and then the event changed probably 10 times from like places that they were gonna go, and weird. I don't think they wanted anybody to show up. Like I don't think the concert even happened. Like it was like it ended up. I think Puddle of Mud ended up playing, but it was but no, yeah, dude, Buck Cherry. They changed the place like 10 times. I think nobody wanted them to come to their.
It doesn't.
It's a game of round robin.
Yeah.
If you land on the venue, you win the set.
Yeah, dude.
It's actually a loss.
It's the new kids party game. It's like hot potato.
Where's Buck Cherry?
You just throw Josh Todd or whatever his name is. He looks pretty light.
It's like the least fun game of musical chairs. You know what I mean? They're playing Buck Cherry the whole time.
It never stops. That's the catch.
Dude, yeah,
You
that's
never sit down.
All right, well, let's go on a more serious side since I have to at least pretend to do an interview. How long have you been doing stand-up?
6 years.
6 years.
I started in April 2000. What is it? 13? Yeah, that makes sense, right?
what
Does that
were you
make
wearing?
sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's 6 years,
that's
right?
6 years. Yeah. So I started in April 2013, and then I did like a set. You know what I mean? And then I didn't really do anything for a while. So technically it's 6 years, but it was. Yeah, it was real on and off for that first year.
Was this like a long-time passion for you, or did you just sort of fall into this?
Oh, yeah, dude. I wanted to be a stand-up since I was a kid. It was really weird. Like, it was like my dream when I was like in the 4th grade because I was sick all the time, and then Comedy Central would play stand-up all day.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh,
golden
man, this
age.
is the best. This is the best thing ever. And then, yeah, like I would take those jokes. Like, I remember Dane Cook's first half hour, and I remember going to school and acting out all the weird shit he was doing. I was like, this is the best. Like, and just people dying, laughing. And I was like, oh, fuck, I want to do that. But then, yeah, I don't know. And later, I guess I got into like relationships. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
having girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just never was like, and they treated me bad. So I was like, I suck. And then, yeah. And then I guess once I broke up with this girl and I graduated from college. And I was like, well, what the fuck am I doing? I guess I should try it.
Follow
you know what I
dream,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. And it was terrible for a long time. Sometimes it's still terrible. It's the worst. It's the worst thing in the world.
I find that about dreams, how often they turn into nightmares at the same time.
Oh, there's still, yeah, dude. Every other day is a nightmare because you go to a mic and you're like, oh, this is the bit. This is the one that's gonna take me, and then you say it, and you're like, ah, fuck, that was terrible.
Yeah, and like know what you're like.
Yeah, no one laughs.
Was that a
They
joke
don't
for
get
me?
it. Yeah, they don't get like what you're talking about, or they're not paying attention. That's even worse because you're just like, God, you're not even looking at me. Like, just like something. You know what I mean?
Where have you had the worst crowd of any set? So we know where to stay away from.
No, dude. I mean, the worst. Well, I've had like a lot of like now I'm fine. Like if I have like me and this other comic Andrew Rudick headlined the Drop Comedy Club in Indiana, and it's like the people who run it are great, but the people who go there are awful. So I did like in 30 something minutes, I did probably like 5 jokes, and the rest was just dealing with the crowd, which I'm fine at. I can do that now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I can fucking riff and roast people and whatever I got to do. But then, so I can do it now. So the crowd doesn't really matter. But like back in the day, like when I started, I was doing like a lot of darker jokes, and I said something about my girlfriend at the time. She told me she got like molested or something. I don't even remember what the end was, but it was like I was bringing it up for a reason. And this lady it was at Northside Yacht Club, which was Mayday at the time in Northside.
Oh yeah.
And she stands up and she goes, "I've been molested." And I was like, that's a weird thing to tell everybody. And then she just kept screaming at me, and I just got off stage. I was like a year in, so I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It was so fucking. I was like, I'm sorry.
Well, that's got to be a tough thing in comedy in general with if you have a dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
Or you like to, you know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of that is not this. I don't know. It's like, obviously it's like kind of a personal thing, but I would guess, I feel like I have a fairly dark sense of humor sometimes.
Yeah.
I try not to make it public because
Yeah.
everybody else. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like for myself, I can go back to certain events and be like, oh, these awful things happened in my life
Yes.
that made it okay. I'm just like, yeah, I
Right.
know that this is a problem for you. I also have trauma. I'm trying to get through it this way.
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, if I had brought up the fact that I was, you know what I mean? I think it would have been cool. Like, she probably wouldn't have yelled out. But
Sure.
I was talking about somebody else. But I was really talking about me. I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, where you put on something else.
Sure.
You're like, I'm going to put this on somebody else so I don't actually have to deal with it. But, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, when I first started, I talked about, like, suicide and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Because it was like, yeah, let's joke about the real stuff. But
Right.
then you got to realize people don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Right.
like I just want to laugh. Like,
Yeah,
I
and-
don't even know you, dude. Like,
Like, I'm sorry, we are just sitting in couches unrelated
right.
to this
We
being a
touched the
therapy
faucet at
session.
the same time, but I'm not going home with you.
well, they're like, I didn't even want to come here. You know what I mean? Like, so they're just sitting there like, okay, I guess we're at a bar, you know,
Right.
and you guys are doing stand up, and you're gonna tell me that you try to kill yourself. It's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah, like, okay, cool, we'll do it. And then you're
Yeah.
like, wait a second, now you're the offensive one.
yeah, right, yeah. But yeah, nobody gives a fuck about your problems. So now I just talk about bullshit all the time.
That's cool. Well, I know I am one of my favorite bits. Obviously, something timely for me as I'm, marriage happening sooner than later. Is your
the wedding vow bit?
I love that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's real silly, and it's not, it's not sad. Man, people all at it sometimes though too. It's weird. God,
it is. Well, here's what's funny about that to me is that it is another, I would assume, deeply personal thing.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
And you are talking about something real, and there is cuteness to that because it is real.
Yeah.
I felt that to my core because I joked about that with Lindsay, where I was like, my vows are gonna slay, and I don't know if you can emote for me. I'm trying to be funny too, but. No, I just love that bit. The first time I heard that was at Sweaterfest, and I was just that's super hilarious.
Yeah, imagine doing that in front of a bunch of married people. It's like much better. Instead of doing it to a bunch of people that are like, yeah, dude, we don't even give a fuck. We're not
the weird vagrants of Sweaterfest.
Yeah, right. We're like, yeah, man, we're in a warehouse. Like,
so we're in the same sack race.
Yeah, right.
I'd love a sack race. So let me ask you this. Coming up, I know you mentioned obviously the golden era of Comedy Central, but who were some of the big people that influenced you? Like, what made you, at some point, was there someone that was like, boom, I got to do that?
See, like before I got into comedy, it was like, as a kid, it was always like Adam Sandler because you're like, God damn, like all those guys on SNL were so funny.
Oh yeah, that was a great era of SNL too.
Yeah, SNL was always a big thing for me, and then Adam Sandler was like a huge because like. When you're like 7 and you're watching Billy Madison, it's like the funniest fucking thing in the world. You know what I mean? I mean, it's still a funny movie, but it's like, it's the funniest thing in the world. But he was a big influence. And then like weirdly, like later on, it was like, I liked Dane Cook, because everybody liked Dane Cook.
Dane Cook's like one of those acts to me that reminds me of like late 90s new metal bands.
And
everyone's like,
dude.
Limp Bizkit's terrible. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, but you
all
loved
of
it.
you had that CD.
Yeah, you fucking loved it. We all thought it was hilarious.
Right. Everybody was into it. Exactly. And that was Dane Cook totally is that person to me.
Dane Cook was that, but it was that, like, there was Insomniac Tour, and I remember that DVD specifically because it was Tell, Sean Rouse, Greg Giraldo, and then Dane Cook. And that was that. And then the thing that really got me into comedy was the comedians of comedy. So it was Patton Oswalt, Brian Posehn, Zach Galifianakis, Maria Bamford, and then there was somebody else that like came in too. But man, that was the one that was like, oh, these dudes are weird, and like I am like this more than I am anything else. You know what I mean? Dane Cook seemed like a cool guy. You know what I mean? So it was like I can't fucking be cool. You know what I mean? But like those guys were fucking dorks, and I was like, "Oh, that's the kind of shit that I like." Like, this is sweet.
Is who you kind of relate to them in an interesting. And they are comics who, again, I think have done a good job of kind of exposing themselves and taking. They're like, "Oh, I'm kind of weird. Well, let's talk about it."
Yeah, right. Yeah, and Brian Posehn's the metal guy too, so that was like a big thing. It was like, man, somebody that likes metal.
I love that Metal Till I'm 60. It was like one of the first special movies I'd ever seen. I was like, this is so funny.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. There was a bit, I think, on that where he talks about wanting, if he has a kid, to punch it in the face. Like he wanted his friends to punch it in the face. But then on his latest special, he's like, I used to do a bit about having a kid. If I had a kid, I wanted to punch in the face. And now I don't want any of you to punch my kid in the face. Like, please don't. I want to wait as long as possible. Because he's my kid. It's going to get punched in the face. You know what I mean? He's going to be under a tree reading Stephen King, and somebody's going to be like, you fag, and then punch me in the face. Like, whatever. It's like, he's so fucking funny, man. Oh, Patton Oswalt is like probably my favorite comic, though. That dude, him and Eddie Pepitone. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah. Is he? So I'm not super familiar, obviously.
Check him out. Like, he's like probably more of a comics comic, like, because just the way that he manages tone and throughout his act. So like he'll be yelling and then he'll bring it down to here and he'll be back to yelling, and it's like it's so perfectly timed out and everything's and it's so weird and funny. Yeah, check him out. And Ruins is his special. It's so good.
I would definitely do that. I think there's a lot of similarities in comedy, or at least the comedy I've always gotten into, between that and like storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where I've related, because growing up, I'd said this before you were on, I just wanted to be like David Letterman for the longest time. So I was like, I likened myself to be, I was like, oh, I'm going to try to be funny and quick.
Yeah.
And then but using that, so it's that weird thing. But I think so much of what I've connected with always is that kind of storytelling aspect.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I'm very excited to check out Peppertone too, because it's like weirdly musical too.
Yeah.
You know, there's an art to
Dude,
the Hills
rhythm.
and Valleys. Just it's a weird thing to think about, and I think people don't think about that.
Not at all.
Even silly stuff. I went out for a voice acting audition recently, and just thinking about that, where I'm like, all right, every different take is different. And I'm like, I really have to look at this as like almost like music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, you know,
Yeah,
there's like a
dude.
weird melody to the way you're speaking and the patterns. It's so interesting.
It's crazy. It's people don't think it. Well, the only way they think about comedy like music is in the way that they think that they can talk over it or ignore it when they're at a bar. You know what I mean?
Or not pay for it, right?
That's how. Yeah, or not pay for it. Exactly. That's how they feel about that comedy's like music. But it's really it's exactly the same. I mean, I used to talk over music at a bar, and now I'm like, shut the fuck up. Somebody is playing their art. You know what I
I
mean?
paid
Like,
$13 to listen to Saint Anger Village Pub, and you canceled it after 3 songs.
they can't. What really? Did
Yeah,
you do
I didn't
that?
get my money back.
That's so funny.
Sometimes you just want to listen to Saint Anger,
Dude,
the entire album.
We like
That's so tight. I
we-
love that so much.
We used to like to do Touch Tunes Terrorism, which was just
amazing.
Like it was really it made it even better once they started putting the apps out, because then you could do it remotely, and then literally nobody knew who it was. A good one, the most recent one I've done is playing Sandstorm in a bar. If you want to see everybody in a place get angry quickly as can be, I think that is like one of the best songs you can pick. The Saint Anger one, that's hilarious.
Why is it hilarious,
Well,
Mark?
because the only one I've ever had done is, because I was a metal guy for a long time. I mean, I still am. I just don't listen to it as frequently. But I remember playing Pantera's Fucking Hostile in what used to be Sidebar in Covington there. And I got maybe a third of the way through the song before suddenly the jukebox got shut off. And I'm like,
That's
I had 2
funny
songs
as
after
fuck.
that were not as heavy.
Gypsies cut me off the self-titled once.
Really?
They got to I Miss You, the entire bar was singing along, and the bartenders got mad and cut it off.
All right.
Hashtag Touch Tunes Justice.
Yeah.
TTJ.
What do you guys? So you guys hate Saint Anger? I think it'd be worse to play
I
that
don't.
Lou Reed.
Oh,
that
Lulu.
would be.
Forgot
That
about that
would be.
one.
That's
Lulu.
What was that
fucking-
album, Lululemon?
That's fucking touch to terrorism, dude.
Yeah.
Because that's unlistenable. But I don't think Saint Anger's as bad as people say it is.
I was like, I grew up definitely latching on to, like, as a kid that grew up in an older household with parents that were like classic rock, like my dad is, like unequivocally Kiss.
Yeah.
When I first like started experiencing, even though people consider it baseline metal like Metallica, I was like, I'm latching onto that. So like Metallica is the reason I started playing guitar, and like all big time Metallica fans. So, but I never had people in my life to like tell me like this is to what to listen to and what not to, and I like a lot of music opinions that weren't Kiss. And when I got to Saint Anger, I remember just going through LimeWire in like, what, 6th grade for me, because it was still like 2006, because I'm a youngin'. And I, because maybe I didn't have that like negative, because there was a big negative connotation when it came out, and a lot of
for
people,
sure.
like the media, I think really tainted. Is it a great album?
No.
But is it like, I think
Dude.
like they were trying to push forward, and they didn't want to be,
Yeah.
the last 2, they Load and Reload are dad albums.
And they didn't want to be Slayer, where you make the same fucking album over and
Right,
over and
yeah.
over again. But I mean, dude, there's some cool riffs on Saint Anger,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
there's some terrible songs on Saint Anger.
Oh,
but it's like,
Invisible
dude,
Kid, never see what he did.
Yeah, right. But there's the riffs. Some of the riffs are like, yeah, this is pretty fucking good. If it was
Yeah.
in like a good song, it would be good. You
If
know
it
what
would
I
have had a
mean?
guitar solo,
Yeah.
maybe.
I think that would. So I'm like kind of a casual Metallica person. Like I had a phase, and then I didn't really keep up with them. But my biggest beef about that album is just the production.
Oh, it's
overall.
terrible.
Yeah, the production's terrible.
Yeah, it
And-
sounds like an album from Northside. Like, not to be mean about Northside, but
Right.
you know the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Well, that's. Well, I think they were so focused on making that fucking movie,
Oh, that's right.
some kind of monster.
I forgot about that, yeah.
It was, and I think that's also kind of why I like it, because you saw it getting made, and you're
Sure.
like, okay, cool. What's the end product? And it's like, oh, this kind of sucks, but So the movie, so I get it. Like, you know what I mean? It was whatever.
Sure.
It was a
But
product of its time, for sure.
oh, definitely. It was, yeah, I liked that. I mean, I liked that movie at the time. I liked,
Oh yeah.
man, I used to fucking love Metallica so much.
Yeah, I would never call myself a hater, but it was just one of those things. I remember that. I mean, I was enough of a fan to still see the concert movie from a couple of years ago.
Oh, right. Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for sure.
There's a whole YouTube album out of people like 2 years ago who went and re-recorded the whole album with like good sounding sounds. So like not a messed up snare, and not like
That snare is crazy.
it's
I'm
not
like,
a snare. It's
yeah.
it's off. He left it off. He left the snare
He's
off.
the worst.
He's terrible.
The worst metal drummer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
He weirdly seems like he decreased in talent over the years.
Yeah,
too.
I
because
think
like early on, I'm like, oh yeah, Lars can play,
Yeah.
and then somewhere around the Black album, he was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna hang out back here.
Well, I think it was like, okay, let's simplify our sound, and he was like, no problem, and just stopped giving a fuck, and it's been
and just rake in the money, and then that turns out at that point their biggest record. You know what I mean?
right.
It's like, oh,
Well, and then they're all like, everybody's like, oh, Metallica sold out. It's like, I guess, man, there's still that album's still pretty heavy. Like,
Yeah, for
for
sure.
a mainstream record, it's pretty fucking heavy.
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird to me that people will shit on them because it's like, dude, they made 4 pretty much perfect thrash records, and that's more than anybody else. So you know what I mean? Like, what else do you want to? What do you? Slayer didn't even do that.
Why would they?
No.
But yeah, it's so weird. I mean, but I also used to like terrible music in high school, so that's probably why I
Everybody
think-
did.
What's your biggest guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, shit.
3 biggest guilty pleasures music wise.
Well, fuck,
or
dude.
comedian wise. If you have some, if you're
How
like,
about just media in
if you're
general?
a Melissa McCarthy fan.
I
Do you like the new Ghostbusters, Blake?
I didn't watch it. I hate women. No, I just didn't watch it because I don't have any money. Dude, I fucking used to love Avenged Sevenfold. I'm sorry, and I know, like, I'm drinking. I have a Mountain Dew next to me. I get it, but man, I almost got a fucking Avenged Sevenfold tattoo. I almost got it on my chest. That death bat.
Oh,
So that would have
man.
been forever. Yeah.
Might as well married him at that point.
So here's the question I'll roll off from there is if you had gotten that tattoo, what would have been your cover-up?
Dude, I mean, I guess I would have killed myself. Probably.
That's
I
the
mean, what do
only
you,
move.
I mean, a gunshot, I think is the only.
I would have actually requested M Shadows to be the one that shot me.
Yeah.
legally-
Yeah, dude, you're a character in Call of Duty. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Shoot me in the fucking.
It's
Dude,
got the M rating for a reason.
Dude, it's so weird that they got all like military-y. That you didn't used
Yeah.
to be like that. It's
No,
so
they're just like
fucking weird.
They're just like, oh, we're diving down. I think sales dwindled, and then they picked up in that area.
yeah,
they're
they were
like,
like,
let's play to that
America, we
base.
love America, or
Yeah.
whatever. Dude, it's so fucking weird.
But they said it with
Speaking of
worse
Buck Cherry.
vocals.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
As a singer, like my first love was music. Well, I was like music and comedy, but like as somebody wanted to be a singer in a band, I hated it. He was always like the word. Even when I liked them a lot, I was like, "You're definitely the weak link here."
Yeah, for sure.
And then now
the
that
band is talented.
oh, for sure, they're all killer.
Yeah.
There's a reason Mike Portnoy was like, "Yeah, I'll play on that record." You know what I mean? He could have played with anybody.
Yeah, and the guy who died, the Rev, was fucking, I mean,
Amazing.
he was an amazing drummer.
He really
and
was.
he wrote most of the lyrics that were all the good ones, at least.
Right.
And he started singing on the last album he was on. It was like, God damn, you were the fucking whole band.
Right.
You know? Then he dies, and then
We get
it's
some-
M Shadows.
And then we get Nightmare.
yeah, you fucking nightmare.
So bad. Dude.
That
And it
sounds
was,
like a
thematically
Marilyn Manson
bad.
song.
Yeah.
That was what's the other band we've been hating on?
Hinder.
3 Days Grace.
Oh.
Hinder did get a whole "Does It Still Suck?"
You guys
segment.
don't love Lips of an Angel?
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one, Blake.
Only when they're on my ass.
And what was the other song? They had one more.
I don't
no, they
remember.
didn't.
They had,
Only according to I remember it being on people's
Yeah.
MySpace pages.
Yeah, there was another one.
Get Stoned. That was the one that we played.
Oh,
They
Get
made me want to
Stoned.
stop getting stoned. Hinder ruined marijuana. Well, hey, I think we're out of time. Actually, not to be that person, but I had a great time.
Hell yeah, dude. That
Thanks
was
for coming
fun.
on, buddy.
I love
Where
talking
can people
shit.
come see you next?
August 3rd in Cincinnati. I'll be August 3rd, Taster Emporium opening for Mark Shalafu, who's very funny.
Oh yeah, he's really funny.
Yeah, he's great. And then, there's something else. That's the closest one.
Well,
So,
you are
here.
free on the 27th. Come up to the Redmore and come
Yeah,
chat
I'm
with us a
gonna
little
go
bit.
do that too. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, shit. I'm on a storytelling show the night before that, the 26th. somewhere. I don't know. Add
Follow
me
you
on
on
Facebook.
yeah, exactly. Is
Yeah.
it just your personal page?
Just
or do you have
my
a comedian
personal page.
Okay.
Just my personal page, and then follow me on Twitter for more viral sensations. And yeah, and then that's
You're at Big Rad Machine.
Big
right?
Rad Machine. Yeah,
Perfect.
very clever.
Yeah, Blake, I really appreciate you coming out, man.
yeah.
It was great.
Yes.
You were super a delight as always. So
Thank
thanks
you so much.
Thanks for making me feel right about my judgment of character.
Coming all the way
Awesome.
out here to Bat Country.
All right, everybody. Oh, we need a password for the giveaway for the show on the 27th. Blake, can you just pick a one word that we can have the audience tell us on social media? Preferably PG-13.
Shadows.
Perfect. Post that. Whoever gets that first gets a pair of tickets to the Weekly Hookup Live on the 27th at the Redmore Theater. Oh, I'm gonna
See you in the afterlife.
You know what really killed them for me was seeing them live. I finally got to see them live, and I was like, "This is awful."
Wait, who'd you see him with?
It was Hollywood Undead.
Oh, fuck. Okay, because I went to the one after that with the Deftones and Ghost.
Oh, that sounds like that would have been
That
a
was
great
awesome.
show.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I kind of accidentally saw. But we'll talk
Sorry,
about this after.
yeah.
Anyway, everybody, we'll see you next time. We'll be here next week, Friday at 5. Was there something I'm forgetting?
No, you're all good.
All right, James, pleasure's always, buddy.
You too, Mark.
See ya.
Hell yeah.
I think we might actually be okay on time